Hey everyone, is your night going? I'm about to go live on TikTok also, but I like YouTube better, so YouTube gets preferential treatment. Banfield and Chill. Yeah, I didn't know what to call it tonight. Just trying to upload a video real quick to Insta, and then I'm going to go on TikTok. I've already uploaded it everywhere else. Hello, Tammy. So Banfield's going to be in a little bit. Yeah, I like YouTube better. And I'm starting to grow it. I kind of tricked people though tonight. It's okay. I openly admit it on the forum, but I created this new thing. I'm actually very excited about it, and I could probably share the link in here. I'd have to get it. But a lot of people ask me like, "Hey, cover this, cover that." Hey, training, how are you? And I'm ADD and I forget because squirrel. So I created a job form this evening. So if people want me to look into something, they can suggest it. There it goes. So they can make the suggestion, and then I'll have like a record of it. And no worries, I've not gotten to see any of the trial today, so I can't wait. Hi, Susie. Hey, Emmy. I haven't got to see any of the trial today, so no spoilers before Banfield. Or you can actually totally give me spoilers. I don't care. Let me get live going on TikTok real quick. But anyway, so you can go submit stuff there. But when you submit stuff there, I redirect to my YouTube channel because I'm trying to get followers here. There we go. Let me do this. Go live. All right. There we go. So no worries. I know the earlier live day was only 20-30 minutes, and it was real quick. So I need to get Banfield queued up, I suppose, or something queued up over here. I'll do that real quick. You skipped me. You filled. I didn't skip you then. Hi, Kimberly. What did I skip? If you filled it out, then I didn't skip you. I just haven't. I mean, I haven't made a video on anything that anybody sent me yet. It's just for stuff for me to look into. But if I skipped you, tell me how. Hello, everyone. I'm on YouTube as well. So if I'm looking over here, that's why. And for you guys, if I'm looking this way, then I'm talking to the TikTok people because this is my life now. Is Banfield on early tonight? It was on until 10. It looks like Banfield might be on like now. Okay, so we will chat for 20 minutes and then I can replay Banfield because it's DVRing. That's what it normally doesn't come on until 10. Right? Am I wrong? Am I losing my mind? I did not get a chance to watch any of Murdoch today, unfortunately. I was out. I had an office lunch today. Yeah, I am too. I mean, I did not expect that video to do as well as it did. I'm late. Well, no, it's 9:42 my time. It's 10:42 your time. Starts at 9. Okay, well then I'm late, and okay, so we will be watching it here in 15 minutes. How's that? About 15 minutes. We will chat till then, and we will do it in 15 minutes. Okay, and I don't know. It's been one of those days, guys. So, all right. Everybody is telling me that I got the time wrong. I can't believe that I got the time wrong. We're gonna watch Banfield like we always do. Unless you're Misa or Miss, I don't know how you would do it because she's watching it now. And she's already watching. Yes, it's on. Okay, but I'm recording it though, so there's that, and so I will play it shortly. Real quick though, before I do, because a lot of y'all will come in here and be like, yeah, it's a great journey for us. Agreed. Because a lot of people will come in here and be like, "Hey, Justin, can you look into this case? Can you cover this case?" And I'm like ADD squirrel, and then I forget. So I actually created a jot form this evening. I'm very proud of it. So you can go into the link tree in my profile. I actually did a video on this too, but you go to my thing. If you want me to like look into something or cover something or talk about a specific topic, you can go suggest it, and it will send me a notification. And then Miss Alyssa. Gotcha. That makes sense. Gotcha. Thank you for correcting me. And anyways, you can go in there and you can suggest something, and then I will have the information there. I've literally just only been on for less than 5 minutes. So we've not discussed really much of anything at this point. So you can do that, but I'm tricking y'all a little bit too in the process because I'm trying to make it worth my while as well. So if you fill that form out, it'll send you to my YouTube to follow me there as well. So yes. What did my nephew just say? Hold on. That's funny. I think they're in here. So hi, Will, since you're in here. Hello in Green Bay. Okay, I haven't watched. Okay, so you can ask the Murdoch questions. I have not watched Murdoch anything today. I have been so busy. I was literally nonstop with work today, and then when work was over, I came on live for about 30 minutes, and then I went to pick up Victoria. Then we had gymnastics, then we had dinner, then we had to get her ready for bed. So it was like a whole thing. Yeah, I'm going to show Banfield. So apparently, Sue, I got my time wrong, even though I do this like every night, and I don't know which one Will is in if they're in YouTube or TikTok. Anyways, yeah, I forgot, but I'm recording Banfield, so we'll watch it as soon as it's over in 14 minutes, and then we can fast forward through commercials. Do I know where Jimmy Hoffa is? I don't, but I actually do. No, I don't have a sunburn. It's winter. How would I get a sunburn? You're on TikTok. Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. Okay, well, Kimberly, I'm talking. Well, I mean, everything's both. The conversation's for both people. And so if I'm looking this way like I am now, I'm talking to YouTube. But if I'm looking this way, I'm talking to TikTok. You fans keep airing my comments. It's a lot. There's only 53 people, Will, over on the YouTube side. And I'm also looking at both. So just so you're aware, if you want to make sure I see the comment, you can. But yes, we're going to be watching Banfield here very shortly. It's not a windburn either. Yeah, he's fine with anxiety. He's just, yes, of course, I will always fast forward through the commercials when I have that ability. Fun story on Jimmy Hoffa, though, because somebody asked that earlier. I don't know where it is, but my great-grandfather on my mother's side, my maternal grandfather's father, was one of the original Teamster organizers and did know Hoffa. Now, that doesn't mean we know where he's buried or what happened to him, but just a fun little fact there. So we'll be doing this on both. Thank you for that. I have a perfect natural blush or rosacea. Yes, I'm going to fast forward through the Banfield commercials. Okay, so real quick, because we have about 13 minutes. I'm guessing a lot of y'all, because Nikki just said it, and some people over here have said it on YouTube, like Emmy. We are all intrigued about the informant, correct? We're intrigued about the informant. And so I did a video, and I did not expect that video to go as well as, you know what? So Samantha, I don't know who I think the informant is. A lot of people are saying they think that it's a parent. I don't know I don't think it's one of the parents. Somebody had a theory in one of the comments, like the dad wore a wire and GPS tracking, and then he knew, and then, I mean, that's to me a dumb theory, but I don't think it's a parent. I don't think, somebody said it could also be somebody who just gave ring footage. I don't think that either, because if you just gave ring footage, there'd be no reason for you to want to hide your identity. So I really have no idea. Like, I almost wonder if it's somebody from, like, and again, this is just general wondering. It doesn't mean that I believe this. Please don't take what I'm about to say as fact. You guys know that I like to make sure that you know when it's fact and not speculative. So that being said, I almost wonder if it was somebody from, like, his Reddit survey, another criminal perhaps that he met with, that maybe wasn't necessarily involved in what happened, but has charges against him as well. And so he's trying to, I'm allowed to speculate. I'm totally fine with speculation, as long as it's not stated as fact. It is not a roommate, especially Dylan, because Dylan is on the witness list already. So it's not the roommate. But I almost wonder, I don't think it's not the BTK killer, because that would not be, they would have no problem. I mean, he's in prison and he's got no reason to be scared of Brian. So I don't think it's the BTK killer either. I makes me wonder if it was somebody that I don't think Bethany either. I don't think Bethany either. Because Bethany was asleep, and her name's already known as being there, so there'd be, again, no reason. I think that this is somebody that Brian doesn't know or doesn't realize, because that would be the only person they're trying to hide them from. I don't think it's people have this whole thing about the Greek life, and it's like they think that it's some secret nefarious society. It's not. I was in a fraternity. Fraternities are there to drink, party, get drunk, and accost women, girls. That's what they do. People can argue with me, but that is what they do. I was in one. I saw it happen. That's not who I am, but I saw it happen. And anyways, I don't know. And I don't think that there could be not one at all, because I don't think that that's possible. So the question was, could it be standard practice and not even be one at all? I don't believe that, simply for the fact that they specifically asked the judge to withhold that information. So you completely agree with my fraternity's description? Yes. Fraternities are usually a bunch of dumbass guys. I'm telling you. I was in one. These people were too dumb to do anything nefarious. And I'm not saying that they are, but these people are, but I'm just saying. People are thinking it could be this. I don't think it's the dad. What's your advice regarding talking to the wrong people about narc abuse? You'd have to be more specific on that. I don't know. It's very interesting. And Judy says, it's got to be someone who has hearsay testimony, if any, or it could be somebody who provided information. So they have written an oral statement, or written in I think they said written in oral audio statements. And so if they have something written that they were able to hand over, if it was like from Koberger, but I mean, I don't know. You know, the issue with this case has been and is, they've kept everything so tight. So it's left a lot of room for rumor and speculation, right? So I don't know. But the security guard or the police, those names are already kind of known, right? So I just don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of a lot of y'all have some really great, there's nothing really to recap, Allison. I did a video. You can go look at it. It's like 2 or 3 back. I did a video talking about the informant. So we don't know what the informant said. We don't know what they have, what they gave. We just based on what has been provided in the verbiage. Let me see if I'll read you guys the verbiage directly. Hold, please. Okay. Asking the court to deny some of the defendant's requests for discovery, including the identity of potential informants. Prosecuting attorney William W. Johnson wrote in the court filing. So this was not in there. This attorney wrote it. The prosecuting attorney wrote this in. To the extent that information exists regarding an informant who is not going to be produced as a witness, including recordings or written statements of an informant, or that identify an informant, such information is not subject to disclosure, and the state asserts informant privilege. So to me, if he put that in there, that to me is not a jot form. No, it said informants, but I guess that could be general. You go back and see what it says. Yeah, potential informants. Yes, it's plural. But then the rest of it, it's singular. No, I think that there is, because the prosecuting attorney, William Johnson, he wrote this part into the court filing. He wrote this in. It wasn't part of like a form. So Judy asked a question about the Murdoch trial. So he had an opioid. Some of these might be an Emmy question. He had an opioid addiction. I had no idea. How did that? When I'm looking this way, guys, I'm looking at YouTube. How did that come to light? And 2, he was shot. It was a graze wound. What happened with that investigation? I don't know. Okay, you guys think it's Kim? I don't know. I don't know. I have. That's funny though. I don't think Kim's a good informant. That's funny, and she would have no problem being named. And for those of y'all who don't know who Kim is, I can get that in a second. He had an opioid addiction. So yeah, I know that there was drug trafficking issues. I'm not surprised that he had a drug opioid addiction. He was shot, and there's some mixed stories about that. But the most recent one, I believe, is that it was an insurance. He became suicidal and supposedly was trying to get money for his $11 million for his son through the insurance policy and try to pin everything on his cousin. I don't know what happened to that, but I know that there is an investigation, I think, still ongoing. I think there have been charges filed, and Eddie is going to be talking about talking at the trial. Okay. So, informant leads to charge, a witness supports evidence. Will this trial be televised? If you're talking about the Murdoch trial, yes, it is being televised every day. If you're talking about the Kohberger trial, I bet money it will be. So people are saying over here that it's Kim. Yeah, Kim was a mother of another college student who is absolutely insane. I'm talking about two cases right now, so that's what's happening. So Eddie's part of the Murdoch case. I'm talking about two cases right now. I know it's for if you have ADD, it's probably, and I mean I do. Is that informant court document on your Instagram? No, but it should be. I will put it on there. Why is the mom insane? Kim is because Kim, if you've listened to her talk, Olivia had Chronicles of Olivia had a video up about her. There's a couple other people that do too. She literally just spouts off every single conspiracy theory she has heard. She also then had a conspiracy theory in the Facebook group that Kaylee was the target and they were going to kidnap her and take her to a no, Brian did not get shot. It's two different cases. And anyways, Kim was saying that it took it to take her to a cabin and kidnap, but it went wrong, and it was like 4 people. It's ridiculous. All right, so I can't. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about Murdoch because it's getting too confusing for everybody. Let's talk about Murdoch after Banfield, and then we can talk about Idaho and Kohberger till then because I think it's confusing a lot of people. Because then the people thinking that Brian got shot and they're like, who's Eddie involved with it? I think it's just getting very confusing. So we'll talk about Murdoch after the fact. Did you hear the recording of Murdoch basically admitting his guilt? I have not heard anything on it today. Banfield, yes, it's over in a few minutes and we can go ahead and play it. Already pre-recorded we can fast forward through commercials. So yes, give it like 5 minutes, maybe less. So I don't believe the Kim lady. What time am I in Tennessee? It is 3 till 10 right now. 3 minutes till 10. No, I think that Kim is insane. And I've said that in my lives. Kim has been in my lives when I've said that. And yeah, I think that she is a nutcase. So I have to look and see what somebody said. Hold on. Should I see something? So anyways, yes. And for those of y'all who are trying to get my attention on a question, there's only 67 people on the YouTube side, just for the record, versus the almost 800 in here. Kim was a mother who is it doesn't matter who Kim is. She's insane. Let's just leave it at that. Kim is somebody who got 15 minutes of fame to spew a bunch of garbage. Yeah, Rebecca just said it. Kim trying to get her 15 minutes. Yeah, Kim was a mom who says kids that go to WSU, she takes everything she heard in the Facebook group and she turns it into some theory. From everything from Kaylee was supposed to be kidnapped and taken to a cabin, to it being a drug house, to being this whole cartel thing, to being like literally everything in between. She is nuts. So yes, let's stop giving her a platform. I'm not giving her a platform. I'm sitting here saying she's nuts. Let's not agree with her. Yes, the telephone lady. Hey, Missy. Thank you for coming over from TikTok. And hey, Michael. Did anyone who dated Brian come forward? There was one girl, right, who stepped on a bee. That's funny. That's an Amber Heard reference. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. Olivia and I had a very long conversation, and I strongly encouraged that she take that video down. A lot of people were like, Olivia took it down because blah blah blah. No, Olivia took it down because her and I had a chat, and I said, look, I was like, I know why you posted everything. You posted it with good intent. I was like, the good intent is not there. You're giving this person a platform who shouldn't. And I was like, you need to take it down. It's hurting your integrity. And she agreed, and she took it down. That's the issue, like, so as creators, we're going to get stuff wrong, right? We're going to get stuff wrong. It just happens. We don't try to. I don't try to. But when I get something wrong, and I have gotten things wrong, not only will I take down the video, no matter how good it's doing. And believe me, as a creator, when you have a video that's doing really good, it hurts to take it down. But I will take it down because it's the right thing to do. And then I will make a correction video. And if that correction video doesn't do well, I will add it into something else that I know will do well. So I don't really have a theory per se on who I think the informant is. What I had said was that if you like forced me to say, who do you think it is right this second, or we're going to harm you, I would say, I think that it could be somebody, but this doesn't mean this is what I really think. It's just speculative. Perhaps somebody from his little Reddit study that had no problem talking to him about what they had done. That's kind of what I think. Can I explain what an informant is? Typically, in this type of a scenario, let me give you guys a really good example of what an informant is and why one would be wanted, why they would keep one secret, and why I found this so interesting. And then after this, we can watch Banfield, okay? If that works for y'all. So let's pretend for a minute. Let's not even talk about Idaho because I don't want to. Hello in South Africa. That is awesome. I don't want to confuse the case. So let me take a completely different scenario for you guys to tell you. I am saying from the survey. That's maybe. So let's say you have somebody who is testifying against the mafia. Okay. They want to take down one of the heads of the families, of the mafia families. And they have turned state's witness. Now, if you've watched anything mafia, you know that if you flip on them, they will do everything to kill you. So people typically go into your state or witness protection program. That is somebody who the identity might not want to be known right at the very beginning until trial happens, because you're trying to protect them and keep them from being killed. Now, that's kind of the same, possibly the same thing here. This person might have some information. Brian doesn't realize who it is. They don't want them to know what they provided, whatever. The only thing that makes the scenarios a little bit different is that this person is not going to be called as a witness, is what it was said. And if you had a mafia case, the person would be state witness more than likely. So that's what's interesting. It also makes me wonder what they provided that's valuable, because obviously if the person's not going to be a witness, not going to testify, there's no ability for cross-examination. So then the question is, what did this person give the police in order to, or the FBI or whoever, in order to secure this? And the other question is there something else that this person has against them, pending charges of some kind, whether it's for the Kohberger case or something else they did, and they're like, hey, I will give you all this information on dude, Brian, if I get lesser charges for my thing, which is kind of, again, what would happen a lot of times in a mafia situation. So my shirt is blending in with the camera comments. Yeah, it's really kind of hard to move, but we're about to go to, but I'm trying to, but I try to do these shirts because you can advertise them a little bit. I'm not in ATL. I am in Nashville. So anyways, I'm happy to continue talking Kohberger, and I'm happy to continue talking Murdoch, because those are both really big cases. We can also talk about the news with Tyre Nichols today. There's a little bit more news on that. 5 more people lost their jobs, which is fantastic. Yes, he is. He's segregated from the population. Correct. So anyways, I don't know. Do y'all want to go ahead and watch Banfield and then come back to the conversation afterwards? I'm sorry, the comments are hard to read, guys. It's black shirt. There you go. Are y'all ready on both sides? Yes, 5 more. 2 police officers, a 6th and 7th police officer, and 3 EMTs for failing to render aid. We can talk about that after. I did a video on that literally right before I got All right, let's get Banfield queued up. Let me get you guys turned around. Alexa, turn off theater. All right, let's go find our DVR here. Let me flip you guys around on TikTok, and then I'll flip you guys around on YouTube. All right, I'm going to move y'all back a little bit. Let me move. Bear with me, guys, please. I'm trying to move everything around here. I'll get you guys both situated, and then we will go from there. All right. All right, so the YouTube people are situated. Now let me get the TikTok people separated or situated. There we go. Can you guys see okay over there? I'm trying to keep y'all plugged in too. See if I can move this back a little bit to give you guys a little bit more of an angle. I think we're going to be good there. Cool. I think we're going to be good there. All right, let's do this.
Go about it.
You can't turn it sideways.
I can't say that I disagree with that charge.
Okay.
These officers were way out of bounds. I mean,
I thought we'd start slowly, and no, I thought wrong, because I wasn't expecting an arsenal of weapons to come out in the Alex Murdoch court case. I didn't expect it. And wow, there were a lot of guns all of a sudden coming at me. And there was also a lot of blood. And so that's coming at you. So I'm going to warn you right now that that's going to happen. Then there's this story that I could not believe. It seems every so often there's a guy out there who's on the dating apps, and he's a wolf. I don't even think he has sheep's clothing, but he is out there, and he is a bad, bad man. And I'm not just saying that because he's accused of something. I'm saying it because he's accused of something, and he's already done that something before a couple of times, like choking his girlfriends, beating his girlfriends, tying up his girlfriends, and leaving them for dead. The latest one now apparently is in critical condition, and the man is on the loose, and guess where he's finding his refuge? On dating apps. So if you're out there and on a dating app, be careful, because that guy is looking for you. A, he wants your house so he can lay low from the law, and B, apparently he's looking for victims again. I'm going to get into that story in a minute. And then there's this very curious case of the Microsoft executive, 33 years old, young kids, living his dream. And then he's shot dead on the roadside with his 2-year-old in the car seat, still in the car.
I'll be fine.
And then there was this real weird connection that came about. But is it real? Is it something police can act on? Because it sure does look like there is some tangent that takes you to his ex-wife, and then she amscrayed across the country. We are speaking with his current wife, the widow. She's going to tell you what the police have told her. She'll tell you where this case is, and she's going to tell you where she hopes it's going to go. But let's start with the Murdoch case. So I also did not expect that Gucci was going to be a star in this case. Guns and Gucci today. Guns and Gucci. Now, why do I care about Gucci? Because, lots of people like fancy stuff, and the Murdochs were super rich. So, of course, they probably liked Gucci. But if they were the kind of people who buy Gucci, and Maggie apparently certainly loved Gucci, it was a $3,000 purchase made before she died. A handbag and a set of flats. I don't know about you. That is a lot of money to spend on a handbag and a set of flats. But Maggie did that. The trouble is, there's this weird little receipt. Something kind of strange. A Gucci receipt with a big old $1,000.21 or $1,021 circled. That's what the investigators found. Somebody did not like the $1,021 spent at Gucci. Somebody didn't like it because they took that receipt and they circled it as if to say, how dare you? Let's just think about this for a minute. Would that be a motive for murder? Like, did you spend too much money you shouldn't have? I don't know. She kind of spends money anyway. What about Paul? What about Alec? Was he supposed to be buying something? What if Maggie didn't get it? What did he buy it for? Okay, so now you see where I'm going, right? There was a lot that came out in court today, not the least of which these photographs of all this evidence we've been hearing about till now. Now we're actually seeing it. Do you remember when the investigators talked about all the water that they were finding down by the kennels? A lot of us were wondering, was that the murderer trying to wash away some evidence? Well, now we're starting to see the photographs of it. Remember the blood, the copious amounts of blood that we were told, where Maggie fell, where Paul fell. Now we're starting to see that too. See the dog kennels there. Who was spraying all this water right before two people had their brains shot out at the murder scene? All these new pieces of evidence are being entered into the courtroom and the case. Again, I told you once, I'll tell you again. There's some gross evidence that's going to, cross your screen on this show. So, tighten up your tummy or turn down the volume or, have a book that you can hide behind. Okay, and then I also told you about the gun room. This was another really big day. We saw that first day where they brought one big shotgun out in the courtroom, and it was camo, and it turned out it was Paul's gun. It's not the murder weapon, but it was still really dramatic. Well, times that by like 30, because this is a hunting lodge, right? So of course there's going to be a big old hunting closet with all the guns. And this is the room it was in. It's like a rec room with a pool table that has a ping pong top and like all this hunting paraphernalia on the shelves. And investigators are looking all around there saying, okay, now we got something to work with here. We got some arsenal. And this is what they brought into court today as well. So much of it, but I am not the best arbiter of how it all landed on the jury. Andrew Davis is that guy. He's the investigative reporter at WSAV-TV. He's part of the news station family. There he is at the courthouse because you never leave. You literally spend all day inside that courthouse, and then you're nice enough at 10 o'clock at night to come and talk to me. I outlined a couple of things, Andrew, but I'm not even sure which one was the most powerful, which one the jury sort of leaned forward for, or which one they were starting to gloss over and wondering, when they're getting their sandwiches.
Well, I think you're looking at the tape at the end with Alec. I know we sort of start at the end to get there, but once again, hearing Alec's voice, understanding his emotion during that interview with law enforcement was truly impressive on all counts, because we hadn't heard Alec cry about Maggie yet. He had cried about Paul in a previous interview, never really had that emotion for Maggie, and showed it multiple times during that interview. But there's also some things in there that don't really make sense that prosecutors are going to take advantage of. Earlier in the day, too much forensic evidence, too many things about going in shell casings. This jury's heard so much, hours and hours of shell casings already, and they're incredibly important, but you're going to have to find a way to make sure they appreciate it so they don't gloss over immediately when they start to hear it. And then, of course, when, like you said, they pull out those guns, that's an impressive show when you see 3 guns, especially that rifle, which really is a serious piece of equipment. And you can see they were a little bit taken back about the fact, even if some of them are hunters, to see a gun like that in the middle of the courtroom.
Well, and the thing that's so weird, right? Especially for me, who covers, murder cases all the time for a living, is that we're not looking at the murder weapons. Usually they bring out the murder weapon and there's this sort of ghastly pall that falls over the courtroom because everybody knows what that gun did. But that is not this. It's still striking. But the jury is having to come up with, okay, I got to accommodate here. This is a hunting lodge, so there's going to be a lot of weaponry. It's going to be a lot of shells, not the least of which are the murder shells. And then where's the murder weapon? So it's all a bit confusing. It's all a bit jarring. And then you mentioned it. You actually get to hear Alec's voice. And I'm not sure if this is exactly the same one, but I did love this moment when he was talking to investigators. He actually was talking about his son, Paul. He mentioned about Paul's ADHD, and then he kind of had this comment. And Andrew, I'm going to let you be the judge and the viewers be the judge of how the jury is going to take this comment, because I know how the prosecutors took it, and I know how they want the jury to take it. But let's see if our viewers take it the same way. So let's play this one about I did him so bad. Take a look.
It was just so bad. I did it so bad. When you asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie, what did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Andrew, it depends
Ashley,
on if
that's
you
the
hate
new-
the guy or
it's
you
the
love
new
him,
blue
right?
dress.
Well, thank you. That is exactly, because in one circumstance, it's I did him so bad I should have been there for him. I let my son die. And then the other is I sure did, mess up his skull. So how did the jury take it?
Well, go back to the jury first. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how they took it, because in the room, in the media room and everywhere else, it's that new, what did you see? The blue dress or the green dress, I guess it was at the time. Same idea. Some people are hearing they did him so bad. Others are hearing I did him so bad. But prosecutors want to make sure that the jury heard I did him so bad. And they even reinforced it there. And the jury heard that loud and clear. This is their push now to really push the fact that Alec was there. Not just there's a bunch of evidence, but Alec was the one, and that Alec did things, and that was his slip up. And it's the beginning of him lying to people, because the next step is just before that, he was talking about the fact that he hadn't seen his family since supper was the last time, about 8:15. But they're going to bring out a video that shows absolutely he was there with Paul and Maggie much later in that, which gets him back to, is he lying? Did he just forget? What may it be? And now the defense is going to have to come back and support their client and make this jury understand that maybe he's just traumatized and not lying about it, and maybe he didn't pull that trigger after all.
Well, okay, but I look at that also like the blue dress or green dress, because he's a lawyer, so he knows better than to lie at a murder scene about where he was. But then again, he's a lawyer, so he probably knows right away that he's suspect number one. And dear Lord, I better not give up that I was right here at the murder scene, and they're going to totally think it's me. But so this will be really interesting litigation once his lawyers, have to climb out of that hole. Okay, the internet broke slightly, Andrew Davis, with the idea that out of the 255 witnesses who are on the list, I don't think we're going to hear from them all, but it's always put the spaghetti against the fridge and then you choose the spaghetti you need at the moment. Why are several of them, including Buster, allowed to be in the courtroom? Because most court that I've covered, that's verboten. You can't listen to the testimony and be influenced by it before you yourself get on the stand. Has anybody explained this?
No, they haven't explained it yet. And I actually asked that question earlier because Buster's there, as well as David Owens, who's the lead investigator for SLED, who's been handing evidence over to prosecutors. And I expect him to testify because he was the guy who was leading this the entire time against Alec. So where does this come from and how does this work? And you talked about some of the issues too that become with what's being introduced in evidence, what also is being challenged and not accepted so far when it comes to the defense side. The judge seems to be letting a lot go for prosecutors to give them a lot of leeway on this. Maybe that includes some of these witnesses to be in there and listen to it. But I have to think it taints this whole case when you hear the other investigators talk about what they've seen, and then you're going to go up on the stand later, or Buster's going to go up on the stand and hear exactly what his father said. And does he just verify that, or does he have different recollections? And that's what we don't know. But he's a defense witness, so I would assume he's going to follow right in line with his father.
Andrew, I've got 10 seconds left, but I got to ask you that I think someone did something naughty in the courtroom because the jury asked the judge to please remind everyone that they need to remain anonymous. Why did they do that? Who did something naughty?
A lot of new people in the background, a lot of citizens as well as extra media who haven't done anything, a lot of chatter going on there. We didn't hear anything directly, but it was clear that somebody did in that jury and wanted to make sure nobody's revealing anything. We've had trouble with that already. These people want to stay very anonymous because of the danger that they feel is around them with this specter of the Murdoch family. So hopefully nothing else has happened, but it definitely did today.
They deserve to be anonymous. This is how our system works. And I really hope that someone didn't mess it all up for the rest of us who are following the rules in the courtroom. And, the judge is a very powerful person. They can put you behind bars like that, contempt. Hey, Andrew Davis, thank you. I hope you get to have a nap. And then you got to be right back in there tomorrow morning. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ashley.
Okay, so you heard Andrew say something in all of that, and it's this little Easter egg. I want you to think back to one of the things he just said. He said, too much evidence. It was a lot, right? It is a lot. They have had to look at so many casings. They've had to talk about so many bullets. They've had to talk about so much tape. It's a lot, right? These jurors come in and they're like, I'm a hairdresser or I'm a mechanic. This isn't their language. This isn't their world. It is a lot to process. Is it too much? OJ was like 9 months. It totally wrecked those people's brains. That was too much. Teaching them about DNA before anybody had ever heard DNA, it can be too much. It can be too much. And sometimes it's not enough. That's where Joseph Scott Morgan comes in. He's a certified death investigator and a forensic analyst. He's a distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University. So he will always say, it's never enough. I can never get enough of the evidence. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like all of a sudden it starts to get very confusing, and sometimes defense attorneys love it. They love when it starts to get confusing because for them, they can then start to sow doubt.
Yeah, they really can, Ash. And, you find yourself drowning in it. I'm glad that you mentioned the Simpson case, because that certainly was the case way back then, back in the mid 90s, with that. I think that we all came away with our heads swimming. How fine a point can you put on this, and how much is enough? What do you need in order to be able to illustrate what actually went down on Moselle that night? And so that in and of itself, I think, and then, kind of wheeling out the weapons, that they brought into court now. And then of course the videography that we had, from the scene, where they're going through the house, and we have that video of them, seeing and inventorying all of these weapons. And not to mention, all of the minute stuff, at the scene itself, the blood evidence that's there, certainly the casings that were left behind. And it is a bit much to digest. Hopefully they'll be able to bring this all back together and kind of tighten it down, so that the jury.
That's the job it's the job of a Johnny Cochran. He brought it all down to like a few words. If it don't fit, you got to acquit. And that just stays with you like a bumper sticker, right? There's just so much coming at these folks. And one of the things that I think the defense is probably seizing on at this point, and you tell me if the death scene that you've been looking at will support this, is that no possibility could one person have done this. No way. This had to be two. It had to be two people. So how many shells, how many footprints, how many tire prints, the position of the bodies, the number of shots that each body took. Do you think this is your business. Do you think it has to be two, or is this just as easily one shooter?
No, it could potentially be two. However, what is the more plausible? You have this event that takes place in, let's face it, a very tight area, when you're talking about a 30-foot distance between Paul and Maggie. However, defense did score some points today when they were talking about the trajectories of the rounds. Remember that? He had her, the crime scene technician, on the stand, and really kind of got her twisted around a bit. She was a bit frustrated and began to apply the protractor there and talk about the trajectory of the rounds. And this was significant because he actually mentioned at one point in time, Ash, this line of trajectory goes out and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. And, he makes it sound like this was a 300-yard shot, multiple shots. Well, the evidence doesn't support that, because not only do you have casings that are relatively close to Maggie's body, but guess what else you have? You got stippling surrounding these wounds. And we know what that means. That means you've got to be at least 18 inches away. Yeah.
Hey, can I ask you one other thing? This is what bothers me, and I wonder if the jury is just going to say, I've had it. They brought out the shoes, right? The photographs of Paul's shoes. There's the flip-flop, not Paul's, Alex. The flip-flops, and then there's the New Balance sneakers with the tread pattern. And then they showed all these footprints in the sand. And they're the shoes right there. Look at that, the New Balance. And you want to say, aha, they got footprints with a tread. There's the sand. It's in the tread. It's him. Yeah, he lives there. Help me to understand why anybody cares about a guy who has footprints in the sand at his own home, and why anyone thinks this is forensically going to mean a heap of anything.
Yeah, it's much ado about nothing. It's a great diminishment here, I think, and you're wasting time on this particular evidence because, as you stated and rightly stated, Paul was known to traipse to this area. The whole family was. Maggie went out there regularly to check on those dogs. They had to feed the dogs. And, so this is not some eureka moment. It's kind of like finding DNA at a scene where people inhabit that space. It's all fine and good. You say that you got DNA, that's fine. Shoe prints are the same way. It's an individualized tie back that you can have to these individuals. What's more striking, which defense made quite a bit of hay with, Ash, is this idea that you've got the police that are tracking through this area as well. So you've got an overlay of potential prints that are in this area. They talked about the bloody footprint, and most concerning, I think, again, defense scored points here, I believe, where she said she couldn't, actually make the print out. And then there was another admission that she stated that, the police had made this print there. And look, that happens because you don't know what you're walking into at any moment in time. Lighting is compromised. You can't appreciate where everything is.
Yeah. There's more to come, so you have to come back, Joseph Scott Morgan. Thank you.
You got it.
I can't wait for all the taped evidence to come back. So Joseph's going to join me. And how do you deal with the tape when you're on tape on the scene, and then you tell the police later I wasn't there? That's called bad fact. Okay. I like fashion. I don't spend a lot of money on my fashion, but I do like to see it. When it makes its way into a murder case, though, well, then I get all excited, right? Because that's a special moment. And guess what? Gucci has made an entrance. What does a mysterious receipt from Gucci have to do with the Murdoch murders? And is it actually a motive for murder? Prosecutors certainly do have a theory. And guess what? The rest of us in the true crime community, we have our theories too. You'll hear it next.
All right, let's fast forward. One thing I'll say real quick, the stupidest thing I heard in this episode tonight was like, when you have potential witnesses, they're not supposed to be there because they could hear, but this trial is literally televised nonstop. So whether they were there or not, they could still hear it. Just dumb. All right, here we go.
10 times. I could get groceries for the week for 5 weeks. I could get my favorite pair of cargo pants at Costco, 50 pairs. Don't judge. They are awesome. But one thing I would not do, it's just me, but I would not throw it away on a handbag. Sorry, ladies. I am not the kind of person that will spend that much money on one thing that just kind of dangles off your shoulder. To me, that is a big old waste, but lots of people do. And somebody in the Murdoch household, I think, did that. They spent $1,021. I don't know if it was Maggie. I don't know if it was Paul. I don't know if it was Alec. I know that sounds weird, but what if he was buying an expensive present and it wasn't for Maggie? Oh, that would make an ugly dinner, wouldn't it? So it's these theories that keep popping up as to why this happened. Nobody can get their heads around the fact that a dad killed his son. They get it with the wife. We cover these all the time, right? Marital discord, money, and let's get rid of him, let's get rid of her. But then doing a son at the same time, this is just, it's just not imaginable. Nobody can get their heads around it, I'm telling you. And the jury is going to struggle mightily with it. But then they see this receipt for $1,021 at the Gucci store. And it's circled. And that's what the investigators took out of Moselle. So the problem is that Fox Digital was reporting that the Gucci store only had a purchase for Maggie like the month before. It was like $3,000 purse and shoes, but they didn't have a $1,021 purchase for Maggie. So we don't think that Maggie made that purchase. So that leaves Paul, and that leaves Alec, maybe Buster. I don't know. Somebody was mad, or somebody wanted to signify the importance and circled it. So I had to call Caitlin Becker, senior reporter for thedailymail.com, and I had to call Tony Bruschi. He is the host of the Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi podcast, because everybody is trying to figure out a theory as to how this happened. Caitlin, I had to start with you on the Gucci part. I did not expect this to sort of enter into our discussion about this case, but now it's kind of thrown me for a loop. What's it saying to you?
It definitely signifies something, but only because of the fact that it was circled. This is a wealthy family. We know they have their financial issues, hordes of financial issues, but this is the type of family who would drop $1,000 at Gucci and not think twice about it. But the fact that it was found in the trash and this particular purchase was circled stands out to me as having some sort of significance with this crime. My hunch goes to Paul. And that's only because from what prosecutor said, he was killed first. So I don't know if there was some sort of conversation or altercation about what is this charge. We know, like I said, they were having so many issues with money. If it was one of those things where you said you can't anymore.
You just blew my mind because my kids, they buy too many bacon, egg, and cheeses and I get so mad at them, but they're $6 and we're not even raised by hand.
This is a family who's so flippant with money.
But okay, $1,000, I'm gonna take your brains, and send them across the hunting grounds.
Definitely not what sparked it, I don't think. But
yeah,
could it have begun an argument that spiraled into something else?
Well, I'm thinking, Tony, that maybe it's what the hell is this charge, Alec? Because it's not for me. So whose Gucci bubble is this?
Well, you may not know this actually, but there's now Gucci designer bullets that are out there. So maybe it was that. But no, seriously, I think, in my opinion, we're to look at this. Is it possible that maybe he had another card, another account that maybe was not known of before? And maybe this was just kind of on par for the behavior of an entitled, reckless family. And maybe Alex already knew that the world was kind of crashing down around him, and he saw that receipt. Maybe he knew we don't really have the money or we shouldn't be doing this, and that's why it was circled as to we need to calm this down, we need to tone this down, which I think could also go into motive of how do you approach your family when literally everything around you has been destroyed, and a lot of it by your own fault.
I mean, I yell at my kids for the bacon, egg, and cheese problem, but I do not, again, throw a plate at them or, haul out my AR-15. And so, spending, recklessly is one thing. Cheating on your spouse, that's a whole other kettle of fish. So that's the other thing I kind of wondered if that's going to, poke its head up in this case. All right, Caitlin, the other big story that a lot of people online are discussing is the gangland kind of killing that this was, right? Like it's not crazy to think this is a drug cartel. Like, we already know that Alec has an opioid addiction that costs millions. He's laundering money, and he's probably, dealing with some pretty high-end drug dealers instead of the high school guy. So why is it so, implausible that this was a cartel that came to the ranch that night and said, we're marching all three of you down to the dog kennels, and Alec, pay what you owe, or bang, Buster gets it next. And Alec doesn't want to say anything because he doesn't want Buster to get it next.
My first inclination when I heard that, first of all, it reminds me very much of Ozark. I feel like anybody who's ever watched that show, This all seems very much like a plot line out of Ozark. And it is totally plausible, especially considering the fact that wrapped into that 100+ boatload of charges that Alec is facing for all of those other issues, included in that, as you mentioned, Ashley, were drug charges, money laundering charges. So he could be wrapped up in something larger. The thing that I would push back on there is, if that's the case, why would he not just go down with the ship, plead guilty, go away? Because now he knows if he doesn't fight these murder charges, he knows Buster's not going to get it. So I don't know. I just think that maybe that might be a stretch in this instance. And plus, if you go for his family members, could he then be have a desire to then go to the police and say, protect my son, protect me, I will roll on these guys? And that is a risk.
You can't. There's too many cartels for that. There's too many. I have to have you guys back because I didn't even get to the craziest theory of all. And that is the prosecutor's theory that he killed his wife and son to buy some time. I mean, that to me is just so nutty. I can't imagine any juror is going to be like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right. So both of you have to come back. Thank you so much, Caitlin Becker and Tony Bruschi. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Still ahead tonight. Deadly dating. A story that you have got to see before you swipe right on any dating app. Police in Oregon say that an ex-con who kidnapped and tortured women is back out on the street and allegedly doing it all over again. This time he is using dating apps to lure his next victims. We've got a description, we've got a warning, and we've got a whole explanation of this manhunt and where you may be in danger, especially if you live where that guy's operating.
Doors. Positive Festival. We're going to watch that because I know the vast majority of my followers are women, and y'all are like literally, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, y'all are never safe. It's just not safe to be a woman. Let me go back.
Southwest corner of the
So
state.
we're going to watch this.
Somewhere around that.
Plus $1,600 off with the purchase of your brand new Safe Step walk-in tub.
There's never been a better time. Call now. 1-800-346-6061. That's 1-800.
Absolutely beautiful. Really a great place to go. Lovely place to vacation.
You did, but we can talk about it again
Not
after
a great
this.
place to be dating. Anywhere, actually, around Grants Pass, Oregon. You see that's right above the California border there and the southwest corner of the state? Somewhere around that little dot, and I cannot tell you where, there's a guy named Benjamin Obadiah Foster. Remember that, Benjamin Obadiah Foster. And take a deep look into those eyes. And don't forget them. Because he is out of prison after he, nearly killed some women by strangling them and beating them and assaulting them. He got out and he's back in the game. And he's using dating apps. And he allegedly has just left his latest victim clinging to life in critical condition, tied up, left for dead, beaten within an inch of her life, strangled. Luckily, they found her and they got her to the hospital, but they can't find him. What they do think is that you might, because he's out there on dating apps, trying to find safe places to hide and maybe other people to nearly kill. I want to bring in Meryl Cornfield of the Washington Post. She's been writing on this story. First and foremost, Meryl, his latest victim, do we know if if her condition is improving, if she's getting better, if she's, still in critical?
Thanks for having me. So she's in critical condition, but she's stable right now. But as you said, she was tortured within an inch of her life.
And this apparently could happen again because it has happened before. I have to speak in code. I have to call it alleged this time because he hasn't been convicted of this latest one, but he was convicted of other assaults on other women for which he actually did time. Can you give me the nature of these other attacks that he's guilty of?
So he was convicted in Nevada before for a really similar kind of crime. It was his girlfriend in this case. She was held in her apartment for 2 weeks. She was kicked, punched, threatened. He had a gun, he had other weapons, and he was charged with a number of charges at the time. But he reached a plea deal with the prosecutor in that case and only ended up pleading guilty for a couple of those charges.
And didn't spend a whole lot of time. I think he got something like 2 years and did time served, maybe, 700 days at some point. But it doesn't make sense. And I can only imagine that, the folks in Oregon are none too pleased about Nevada's deal because now their problem is Oregon's problem.
I talked with police about that today, and they said that they had no idea that he had this criminal history in Nevada up until this crime when they learned about him. And they started looking into him, and they realized that there's this whole history. There was that charge. There was another charge in 2017 and another charge in 2014.
So, Meryl, it sort of defies logic how you can make deals with someone who's so near lethal in his regular, repeated behavior. But they did. And one of them I see was on Christmas Eve. So there's that added element to it. The current police chief that's tracking this man, he said they're using every piece of technology they can. I don't know if that's facial recognition or what they're doing to scour the dating sites, but they are warning women, watch out. He needs to hide. And he likes what his business is. He likes to do what he does. And they're asking people to look very carefully because he's a chameleon. He easily changes his appearance. What's the actual advice they're telling women?
So police are going to obviously keep cards close to their chest. They're not going to say how specifically they're searching for him because they don't want him to know how they're searching for him. But they say to be mindful on dating apps that he could be have his different hair color, different haircut, and just look a little bit different. But look at, as you said, into those eyes and look at his face structure to see if you can recognize him. Be careful about who you're meeting, especially in a private place.
It's so weird. I look at these 3 pictures. It looks like 3 different men. It's very, disconcerting to think if he's dyed his hair blonde and he's got a brush cut, it would be near impossible, but it's out there. And so women really do need to be careful. Again, Benjamin Obadiah Foster. I'm sure he's probably using some other name though, if he's looking for shelter. Meryl Cornfield, will you keep us updated on this manhunt and let us know, how much progress they made?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me talk about this.
So good to have you from the Washington Post. Meryl joining us tonight. We'll keep on that story as well, as it's an active manhunt as we speak. Still to come tonight, though, a huge break in a murder mystery in Florida. A suspect is charged in allegedly targeting and killing this young husband and dad, doing it right in front of his little girl. After a break, the victim's widow and the mother of that child joins me for her first televised interview since the arrest, and she'll tell us about her year-long quest for justice and why it is not over yet, but it may be getting close.
Representative James Comer, one-on-one, tomorrow on Dan Abrams Live.
Have clearer skin and noticeably less itch. Infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines.
His ex-wife's home to drop off the twins that they shared. Custodial arrangement, it was her turn. Should have been eventless. He had his 2-year-old daughter in the back of the car, in her car seat, but he never made it back home to his new wife and other daughter. That's because on the way home from that drop-off of the twins, there was a tire in the middle of the road. And when Jared got out to move the tire, he was ambushed, set upon, and he was shot to death. That 2-year-old daughter was still in the backseat of the car. She heard everything and couldn't understand why Dad did not come back to the car. 1 year later, an arrest was made, and that was just on Wednesday. A man named Henry Tenen, 61 years old. Very strange, as though he had no connection to this Microsoft exec. Why on earth would this man have been arrested? The police held a press conference on Wednesday. Have a listen.
This was a planned and targeted ambush and murder.
We know Henry Tenen did not act alone.
And that created even more mystery for this inexplicable killing. It was a conspiracy charge to second-degree murder that Henry Tenen is facing. But if it's conspiracy, who would he have conspired with? Who on earth would have done this? Jared Reidigan's wife, who did not see her husband come home with their 2-year-old daughter, she thinks she may know. And she joins me now. Kirsten Breidigan is with me. This is so distressing, and I am so sorry for your loss. It was even more distressing to hear that the man who was arrested seems to have a connection through an address to Jared's ex-wife's husband. Can you explain what this potential connection is?
I mean, you know what I know. Henry Tenen was a renter of a property owned by Mario Fernandez, who was married to Jared's ex-wife, Shanna Gardner Fernandez. I don't think that's random. It's a 1,000,001 shot that was a random connection. You know, what are the chances of that?
Has Jared's ex-wife, Shanna, said anything about this, especially since it's been revealed that Shanna's husband has a property that was being rented by this alleged killer?
No, Shanna and I have not spoken since very soon after Jared's murder. The only communication is regular emails from me to her requesting to see the kids, which either go denied or completely ignored. So I have not heard anything from her about this.
How is your 2-year-old daughter doing? I mean, she's 3 now. Her little sister's 1. But at 2 years old, I'm guessing she may have some memory of that terrible afternoon.
She does. Early on, she talked a lot about the sounds that she heard. And I'm sure everyone has heard the Ring doorbell sounds of those gunshots. She was there. She heard it. Her dad wasn't answering her. She remembers grabbing her shoes and putting them over her ears. Thankfully, as time goes on, she doesn't speak about that as much. Now it shifts to dad's in heaven, dad's not coming home, but he's okay. So I'm glad that it's shifting, but she definitely still remembers that night.
Was she in the car before somebody discovered the scene and rescued her?
It's estimated to be over 3 minutes that she was alone between when the gunshots were caught on that camera to when a bystander pulled her from the vehicle.
One of the other sad details is that those twins that Jared shared with his ex-wife Shanna and was dropping off that day, that was the last time that you and your 2 kids got to see them. I mean, they're all siblings. They've all 4 lost their dad. And Shanna is not allowing any contact between your 2 children and their other siblings, the 10-year-old twins?
So she allowed me to be present when they were informed of Jared's murder. I had asked her, said, Jared and the kids deserve that I be there, someone who loved their dad. And thankfully she said yes. And then the next day she allowed Abby to bring over some gifts for her sister. But since then, she did not allow them to come to his funeral. She did not allow us to get together, despite many, many requests from myself. And she cut off even FaceTimes as of April.
And now she's moved as far away from Florida as you can get. She's crisscrossed the country all the way to Washington. So is it getting even more dire in terms of trying to reunite these siblings?
Yeah, like I had hoped that if I was persistent, she would come around and realize that she's further abusing and damaging these children by not allowing them to be together, to mourn together, to support each other. But it's fallen on deaf ears, and now there's not even a chance of meeting at a park and letting them play because they live clear across the country.
Kirsten, I am so sorry that you're going through this. I mean, it just seems like an additional insult to a lot of pain and suffering that you and your children are going through. And I am hoping for the very best in this investigation. If it's conspiracy, it means there's somebody else. And so I do hope that you have some resolution and justice.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. I appreciate you telling your story.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Kirsten Bridigan joining us tonight, and still ahead. A Michigan teenager disappears from the school she's at in the middle of the day. But here's the mystery. She leaves her cell phone behind in a very curious place, and police find her body days later. But this tragedy makes very little sense. What exactly happened to Addie Davidson? That story's next. There was a 15-year-old student at Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. She disappeared from school on Friday. She was last seen by her friends about 11 in the morning when she reportedly said that she wasn't feeling very well and she left. And a bus video shows that she came back about an hour later, but she did not go inside the school. And here's where it gets strange. Addie's cell phone reportedly turned up on the school's tennis courts later that afternoon. And then the search began, and police looked everywhere, all throughout the weekend, trying to find Addie. Sadly, today they did find her, but they found her body, and it was odd. She was found under the bleachers near the school's athletic fields. An autopsy is planned for Addie, but right now police are saying that they don't think there are any indications of foul play. We will update you if and when they let us know exactly what that amounts to. Also, We're keeping an eye on that manhunt in Oregon as well, Grants Pass, Oregon. The dating app guy, he looks a lot of different ways to a lot of different people, but he is dangerous no matter what. He knows mixed martial arts. His name's Benjamin Obadiah Foster, and he is likely looking for refuge by going on dating apps and getting women to take him in. But be careful if it's you, because he has a terrible history. He nearly killed, allegedly, his last victim. That's it for us, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow night. Stay tuned for Cuomo. He's coming up next.
All right, let's Alexa, turn on theater. Let me turn everyone around. Hold on. Start with the YouTubers. Oh, there's a lot of y'all in there. 87 of y'all. Okay, let me turn you guys around too. All right. There we go. That was a lot tonight, guys. Let me move this up. That was there we go. A lot tonight. No, I don't think the PI would be the informant. That would not have to be, because a PI wouldn't be afraid of having his name released. Yeah, no, I've not made a video on any of those things yet. I will. I think the video that I will make tonight when I get off live is about Benjamin Obadiah Foster, because I think that one is the most pressing. The other stories are sad and absolutely need attention, and I will happily give them attention. But this is a person who is out there at large with a past and a present of what he's doing to women. And I think that one is probably the most pressing for awareness today. Women, you guys are, I know that most of my followers in here and there, y'all are never safe. Y'all are never safe. Doesn't matter when. It is terrifying to have a daughter. And that's just from my end. Hey, Doug. I did a trigger warning on this one. I did a video a little while back where apparently you guys aren't even safe when you're dead. It's apparently funeral homes have a notorious issue for that as well. BK, they're not wanting the information to be known about the informant to keep it from Brian. I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, everything that I know would be the same that y'all know. It's all speculation. I mean, it really is. You have 2 dogs and you promise. Yeah, it's terrifying. Like, it's terrifying. You see all this stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's scary. Okay. So a couple things that I will share with y'all, though, because speaking of all of these stories, I did do something tonight that is, I think, interesting for y'all if you're interested in, because I know a lot of times in these lives, people are like, Justin, have you heard this? Have you done this? Can you cover this? Can you talk about this? And a lot of times I don't remember them because there's so much that comes at me, because I also, have a family and a job and hobbies and whatnot. So I created a jot form tonight. So if you go into my profile on TikTok, my link tree, third link down is a jot form that you can request that I cover something. But I will tell you guys something. I did kind of trick y'all a little bit too, because I am trying to grow my YouTube channel and Insta, but YouTube mainly. After you submit the form, it takes you to my YouTube, so you can subscribe. That was a little dirty trick that I did. But yeah, if you have something that you want me to cover, please go on there and you can ask me to, and I will look into it. And if I get especially several requests for the same thing, it'll 100% be something that I cover. I won't be able to cover everything, but yeah, I was sneaky. Yeah, I thought it was a good idea too, because I know a lot of times people, I forget. I'm not trying to be rude when I forget, but so yeah, if there's something like whether it's, like I said, whether it's a case or a missing person or just a topic in general, subscribers never go. That's fair. That's fair, Nebraska girl. That's fair. So my YouTube friends are being real quiet over here for the moment. The chat is a lot less people over here. Where are the documents available for view? Which documents are we talking about? I mean, I have a black shirt on. I can't really. I mean, there's not a lot that I can do without pushing the camera like that. And I mean, that just doesn't help. And that's what happens when you do that. So I'm sorry. Best I can do. I don't think it's the dad. I didn't mention who I think. I mean, I mentioned a possibility because people are like, "Who is it? Who is it? Who is it?" So I don't. Who's Casey Little? I know the name, but refresh me. And I mean, I would go live with a bunch of, Nikki. I'd go live with. There's a lot of people I'd go live with if they got back. Sorry, I mean to throw that up there. A lot of people. So the problem is, Erica, is that there's a lot of teenagers think they know so much more. What's my opinion? To me, it sounded like he said I don't. But the thing is, Shelby, I gotta say. So that's the question's about Murdoch. I should probably say that. Alexa theater lights change would be mind blowing. That's funny. So Shelby's asking this is going back to the Murdoch murders. So I'm going to preface that by saying this is the Murdoch murders. What's my opinion on the interview in the car? Did he say I or they? I think that he said I. And the reason, the professor I do edit. Yeah, I would totally. Oh, him. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And absolutely I would. So going back to the Murdoch case real quick. I am biased. I think that he is guilty. So I heard I. I don't believe his act. I don't believe his crime. I think it's acting. I think it's shitty acting at that. I think that this is a family that has more skeletons in their closet than you could imagine. And that's just what we know about. Well, they is one syllable also. My face could be red because of lighting. Or because of drinking. I don't know. Maybe it's a filter that's on that I don't know. I don't normally use Amber Heard tears, exactly. I don't normally use filters, but sometimes ones get put on there. So, so for the informant, basically, what I would say, go back 3 videos, and that'll kind of give you a real quick recap on the informant situation. And I'm sorry you got your wisdom teeth out. That sucks. That does suck. But yes, Nikki, coming back to you real quick, I would absolutely do something with him. He's brilliant. I love his stuff. Love his stuff. I would totally do that. I've not watched the HBO series, so I don't have HBO. What I do need to do, though, in regard to Murdoch, is get Emmy on for a live, probably on YouTube. And I was going to try to do it this weekend, but I don't remember what happened that I didn't. I didn't reach out to her for it. She's sitting right here. So, I mean, in the room. But she can wear the mask that's in her profile if she doesn't want to be seen. So, yeah, so when I had mine out, I got mine impacted. And what was it? It was impacted? I think so. Yeah, it was terrible. What did I get? No, I got dry sockets, not impacted. I got dry sockets. And actually, one of my wisdom teeth, well, the bottom ones they couldn't take out at all. So I got one that's kind of, they took out one. What did they take out 2? They took out the top for sure. They didn't take out this one. It's still there. So, anyways, can we talk about the lawyer? If the lawyer's stepping down or away, I know she's not. Good God. Yeah, I would totally go with him. He's brilliant. I love his content. Thank you, Nikki. I follow. I mean, I think I do follow him. So, think he will change? No, he's not going to change his plea. He's not going to change his plea. He's going to stick with not guilty. Good forward. Okay, awesome. Thank you for sending that. No, I didn't take it. I didn't take it as rude. The dry sockets really did hurt. They really did. You had 3 of 4 dry sockets, most brute. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. So yes, I drank a lot of soup at hand. If y'all remember, I don't know if they still make soup at hand. That tells you how old I am because it was like 20 years ago. I drank a lot of soup at hand. A lot of it. Can I talk about Tyre Nichols? I know we're talking about Idaho. I know y'all have a lot of questions about Idaho and a lot of questions about Murdoch, but I want to talk, and a lot of y'all were here when I did this early, but I want to talk about Tyre Nichols again, if that's cool for a second. I don't know how they got him, just got him. They still make Superhand okay. But they were advertising it a lot more back then. No, it's not Jack Showalter. Not Jack. I don't remember what it was. I think I liked most of the flavors that they did. I did see that. I wish she would have stayed. I would have liked to have had something. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, Emmy. So you can wear your Venetian mask. So one of my followers, and I guess now friends over here, Emmy, she lives in that area, and she knows a lot about the Murdoch case. No, I mean, it was new back then. And anyway, she's worried about coming on because literally that is how scary this family is. And I get it. I'm not even being mean about it. So let me talk about Tyre real quick. I want to talk about this. Let me see if I can throw something up. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. I'm really bad with my things on here. Effects. Hold on. Hold, please. Green screen. Yay. I don't want this one. Okay, we're going to throw a few things up here. Where is it? This is the one I want to do? Yeah, this is what I wanted. Okay, so let me go out of the way. You guys can't see this. You know, I'll just throw this up for y'all too. Hold on. I can throw it up on both platforms. That's what I can do. So we're talking about real quick. Well, let me get this up. Okay, let's talk about this. Got on mode. If I had to guess, you graduated just a note earlier than I graduated class of 2000, Mika. I was class of Y2K. Okay. So, 7th member, Memphis officer discipline. Sorry, y'all see it here too. 7th, which is fantastic. So 98 and nice. A lot of older millennials in here. There's a 6th officer as well. So let's show that jerk real quick, because I like when people are assholes that we should show them, right? Don't you think? I think that we should show them. And there's so many effects that I can do in a live that I didn't realize I could do. This guy, Preston Hemphill. Thank you, Protein, for making me feel so old. You are so appreciated right now. Disciplined. All right, so let me find this for them too. Hold on a second, guys. I'd like to show it on YouTube as well for those of y'all who are on YouTube. Oh, hi, Nisa. Well, thank you for coming to my channel. All right, so this guy, Preston Hemphill. Okay, this guy behind me. So with this guy, who this guy is, let's talk about what he did. So if you guys had the stomach to watch the video, and if you didn't have the stomach to watch the video, no worries. I will make sure to tell you what happened. There were basically 2 parts. It's okay. It's fine. I can be reminded of my age. The mustache is a lot. If this dog is going to whine, let me let the dog out real quick because he's going to start whining. I'll keep talking. Come on back. I'll let you out. So this guy at the first start of the video, think of that. Go. At the first part of the video, I'm trying to move you guys real quick. Try not to disturb the ecosystem of the dog. He tased Tyre at the beginning, and then I think he said something like telling the other guys to stomp him. That's what happened. This guy right here. He tased him, told them to stomp him. Now the 7th guy who we just saw, let me go back to this. The 7th one that we just saw a second ago, they did not name a name or what he did. So we don't know who he is. We don't know why. Yeah, I know. That army, it was tough. It was a very difficult video to watch. So let me show you all both the rest real quick. Let me start over here. That is Baxter, everybody. You can see him. YouTube can see him. I don't know if TikTok can. No, this guy didn't try to stop the attack at all. He was part of the attack. He was just the earlier. I'm not going to body shame here, but I'm going to say that he is obviously not in the shape to go chase somebody else down. Body shaming is wrong, and I don't agree with it. But I'm just going to say he's not in the shape to go. Where are the firemen? All right, I'm trying to find the firemen for you guys. Okay, it's the 6th officer. This one, so I'm trying to find. That was different. Okay, well, that doesn't matter here. But then if I can show that you guys on here, though. These 3 guys. I'm gonna try to. Let me see if I can find them. My dog Zoe just busted it. It was funny. I think YouTube needs to see it too. So give me 1 second. I'll talk about these guys because again, I think that showing these pictures is important because no, I don't want that. Where is this? All right, let's get rid of the commercial. Put this one up here. Okay, so these are the 3 Memphis officials. So let me move out of the way so I can talk about who they are real quick. Okay, so starting from left to right, this guy right here. Right, you can't see me pointing, but I'm making this guy right here. That is Robert Long. The middle guy is Jamichael Sandridge, and this woman over here is Michelle Whitaker. Okay, these are EMTs. Yeah, they are the EMTs. They are the EMTs. They did not render aid to him. They came from a situation where they thought, let me get this off because it's kind of blurring me out here. I'll let you guys look at their pictures because they deserve to be shamed. That's a great question, which is why they no longer have a job. There we go. That's why they no longer have a job. Y'all, this is like so sad. This whole situation is completely unnecessary. It's incredibly sad. But basically what happened was they got a report that there was pepper spray involved. So they responded to a pepper spray, and instead of evaluating Tyre as he laid there, they just assumed to not treat him. Basically, these EMTs were the first responders. They were there before the ambulance got there. When the ambulance arrived 20 plus minutes later, that's how he got. All right, sounds good, Melinda. That's what happened then. This whole situation is so tragic. I don't know I know that investigations, Angie, are still pending. Angie's asking, will they be charged? Losing their job isn't enough. One, I agree. I completely agree. I think that there should be criminal charges depending on what those are. Manslaughter, accessory to manslaughter, whatever the case is, accessory to second-degree murder, whatever it is. I do believe that charges need to be filed because here's the issue. The video is very hard to watch. If you haven't watched the video at all, it is painful to watch. I mean, I think that if you can stomach it, it's worth watching for the awareness in what happened because it will enrage you. What happened to him? Tennessee does have the death penalty, but these police officers will not get it because it's second degree, not premeditated. So they won't get the death penalty for this. Unless somebody takes care of it in prison. If you watch the video at all, the first part of it, the Scorpion unit, I'm going to call them police, the bullies, because that's what they are. They're bullies. They weren't law enforcement, these people. They were bullies with a badge. They came at him strong from the moment they started. He was 32. He had a little girl. It was 29. Sorry, 29. Just 29. Sorry, you're right. 29. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you guys for correcting me. Yes, I heard the rumor too, but if the rumor that Tyre had a relationship with the ex of one of them, but that's the key word there, ex. Ex. I've heard that rumor as well. Yeah, the rumor is non-substantiated rumor. Okay, so don't like get off this live and be like, I heard Justin say this. I did a video 3 back, Jan, if you want to, because I've recapped the informant a lot. So I'm definitely not trying to be rude. I just literally recapped it like so much. I did a video 3 videos back. If you want to go check that out, that would give you a real quick recap on what's kind of happening there. Well, it can't be first degree. The problem with the first degree premeditated murder charge is it's very hard to make that stick because you have to prove that it was premeditated. Given that they saw him that night, they were probably intending to rough him up, not kill him. So it'd be really hard to make a premeditated murder charge, first degree murder charge stick. Second degree, on the other hand, would be a lot easier. That's kind of what people are like, why did he get first degree? Why didn't he get first degree? First degree murder charges are very hard to make stick. You have to have like a Brian Koberger situation where you have like stalking and depending, constantly coming around the house, looking for them, planning. This wasn't that. Yeah, it's hard calling for his mom. It's very hard. So that's part of the reason why you can't do a first degree, just so y'all are aware. I think though, if you upgrade it to first degree, I think that they're going to walk. I'm pretty sure Tennessee's laws do. It's hard to, yeah, but you can get them for second degree, and second degree could still be the rest of their life in jail. And they can also tack some other charges onto it, which I think they have. It's a terrible situation. Being a dad, there's some of these stories really get to me for other reasons too. Like, for example, I know that Tyre had I think a 4-year-old daughter. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in the age. And now this little girl doesn't have her dad, and he doesn't get to watch his little girl grow up. My biggest reason, but my biggest reason for living is at this point in my life is my daughter. Like I don't want a world where I don't get to watch her grow up. Like I adore this child. And so to hear something like that, and the same thing with the dad that we talked about, the Microsoft exec dad, who got gunned down basically in front of his 2-year-old. That to me, like it's obviously I don't want my, when you're that young, you don't necessarily remember. They did get bail and they are all out. Yes, that's a good question. It's just really sad for everybody. And I guess for me, it would be terrible whether he was a parent or not. Like George Floyd was terrible and my heart broke for George Floyd. But it's a different level. That's a great question, Kate. Let me do some research and see if I can find something. I know that there's been a GoFundMe set up. I'm pretty sure for the family of Tyre's family. Let me do some research to find something that's true, that's real, legit, and I'll post a link to it in my link tree because I think that's a great idea. If there isn't one, then I will try to figure out what I need to do to just create one on my own to get it to the family. I wouldn't know how to do that at this point, but I can definitely try to work. Oh, more. Okay. Gotcha. I'm glad I'm glad that share it to my Insta. I'll definitely post it. I'll definitely post that. Anyway, I just want to talk about it because I think it brings awareness. I think that, I don't know if you guys saw my video the other day when we were talking about this. So I'm sure some of y'all did. And it's on any of the platforms. And I was talking about the challenge with staying silent when it comes to things like this. And what I said in regard to that was, even though 5 of the officers were black and Tyre was black, I still believe, I think George did have a daughter too. I don't remember how old she was. I think she was older, but yeah, I believe he did. I mean, older than 4. So I'm going to come back to you, Judy. I don't think the charges against the cops are going to be tough at all. I think that you have everything on video. It was excessive force from the get-go. They murdered him. They could have stopped once they had him, and they continued to murder. You know, you can see from the first initial stop that when he was subdued, he was in custody. He was complying, and they kept saying you didn't comply. They kept coming after him. That's why he ran for his life. I don't think it's going to be very hard to stick it at all for them. But anyways, so one of the things that I said was, even though they were black, and this metaphor is not my metaphor. Somebody else said it, but it doesn't matter who the conductor on a train. It doesn't matter who the conductor is. All the cars are going to follow. Joy, okay, so she was little too. She was little, younger than I thought. So even though the police were black in the situation, there is still deep-seated racism and bigotry in the police force. And a lot of people had come at the video, as I knew they would, saying, well, like I was arguing with somebody today that they were talking about that there's deep-seated racism against white people. And I'm like, you're just trying to be oppressed. And with the comparison that I made in the video, and before I tell you what the comparison is, I will tell you that I am 50% Jewish. I had family that was killed, a great uncle that was in his entire family, 6 people, the youngest of which was 11, killed in Auschwitz. But what I will say, thank you for sending that. What I will say is that in Germany, not in World War II Germany, because there's words TikTok doesn't like, there were Jews that helped load other Jews onto the train. So just because you're the same color doesn't mean that it's not part of a bigger problem. And that's what I look at, because and anybody who has come and said anything different, and basically the point of my video was to not stay silent. Like if you knew somebody, if you knew somebody who acted this way, thought this way towards other people of a different race, then stand up, say something, because it starts people who look like me, they have the same color as me. It can't just be all black people, fighting. There has to be white people doing it too, to call out other white people. I saw a video today, and I reached out to this creator where somebody came on her property completely unprovoked, unannounced, and coded, like spray painted derogatory terms for black people on her bus and stuff. She's crying about it, which obviously she should be. It's incredibly sad. Anyway, my point is that we have a broken system in this country. We have a broken system when it comes to this type of thing. And there are really good cops out there, but there are really bad cops out there too. And I think that we saw 7, I guess, apparently, of them in this particular situation, and 3 EMTs. These are people who you're supposed to be trusting to put your life in your hands, and you can't. It's scary. And I will never understand what it's like to be a black person at a traffic stop. I will never understand that, ever. And I'm grateful for that. That's a privilege that I get to enjoy. But for my black friends, they feel very differently. For those of y'all who know the Emmett Till story, and well, we can move on to something soon. Like I said, I just feel this is important. But for those of y'all who know the Emmett Till story, Emmett Till, if you don't know it, please look it up. It's an incredibly important story, especially with February 2 days away. Black History Month is coming up. This is a story that you really, really should know if you don't. That's true. They can be. You're right. You know what? Tina said something good. It doesn't have to be a traffic stop. They could be at home watching TV. 100%. So if you guys don't know who Emmett Till is, Emmett Till was a 14-year-old boy. I'll give you the briefest recap. Who in Jim Crow era Mississippi, he was visiting from Chicago, visiting family. He got accused of something he didn't do, which was not even a big deal if he did, whistling at a white woman, which he didn't do. He was 14 years old. And they brutally killed him, and every one of them got away with murder. Every one of them. And Shelley knows the story, obviously. His mom had an open casket because she wanted to show, let me take this off. They wanted to show how bad, and if you can stomach it, Google Emmett Till's funeral. Google it. He was a cute kid too, very cute kid. And the people who did it got off. The woman who accused him never had a warrant served. In fact, they found the warrant very like last year. And I fought very hard with my platform to try to get that warrant served and didn't. And she didn't. Mississippi chose to not go after her. But my point is that what happened to Tyre is the same thing that happened to Emmett 60 plus years ago, 70 years ago. And it's still a problem that you have. You too, Anita. Have a great night. So it needs to change. And yeah, nothing's changed, and it needs to change. So I will always use my platform to stand up for what's right. I will always do that. I haven't seen the Till movie yet, so I need to do that. Why they supposedly actually stopped him for reckless driving. But he was literally, when they pulled him out, he was at a stoplight, stopped. I think that there was more to it than that. Yeah, this year started off really heavy. And I think there was another shooting today, another mass shooting today. I went to lunch with a friend of mine today. So a lot of y'all who've been here for a while. Not the Mad Greek owner. It's definitely not the Mad Greek owner. The Mad Greek owner, I think, is problematic. They wouldn't do anything to help this case, I don't think. But it's an interesting thought. But my money would not be on the Mad Greek. Are you ever see all the body cam surveillance? Probably eventually, as they deem it fit. The one, let me look. I forget where the one today was. Somebody can probably tell me. Hold on. Florida. Okay, it was in Florida. 10 people. This was 4 hours ago. 10 people are wounded. Let me see what it says at this point. At least 10 were wounded. I don't know if any have died yet. It was like a drive-by situation. But yeah, that was in Florida. It's in Florida. Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland, Florida. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't think that she would be. I mean, I guess that could be it. Maybe, Judy. That's an option. The gas station girl who identified the car. That's possible. Okay, yeah. So you were taught. This is what I started to go to. So I had a lunch with a friend of mine today. A lot of y'all know that I have a friend who works for Alice Cooper, and he travels the world with the Hollywood vampires, who consequently Johnny Depp is in, and with Alice Cooper, he travels all over the world every year. And I was talking to him today. I was like, sometimes I think with everything going on that maybe, I saw a TikTok video the other day where like there were 3 countries that were like, if you moved there, they pay you to move there. And I was like, maybe we should consider that. And the biggest reason for that is because I have a 3.5-year-old, and I'm like, I don't want to worry every day if I send her to school that she's not going to come home. And thank you, Amy. And so we were talking about healthcare too there, and I was like, so what happens? Like, do you have to be there a certain period of time? And he was like, no. He's like, actually, on tour, he goes, I've been sick 3 times. He said, one time in Australia, Max, one time in Australia. He said they took him in, didn't even ask for identification. They just, I think, yeah. Then he said another time in Germany, and he said in Germany they had to like charge him. No, they didn't. In Germany, he got sick for something else, and they didn't charge him anything. And then a podunk town in France, he had kidney stones. So I just don't want to worry every day about sending my kid to school and not coming home. That's all. Oh my God. So somebody on YouTube, Cheryl, saying she was a victim of attempted kidnapping when she was 9 in 87 when laws weren't strict at all. Good God. I'm glad you're okay. How are you requesting a discussion topic, IG or TikTok? So great question. Also, like your name. I love weird usernames, so that's funny. If you want me to talk about a topic or a case, if you go into the profile, like click up here, go into my profile on TikTok to my link, the Linktree link. And the third one down, you can fill out a form, a job form, which will then send it to me. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to warn you that that it's going to take you when you submit it to my YouTube, because I'm trying to get people to follow me there. So, so somebody goes, the NHS in England is in crisis, though. My husband and I are seriously trying to move to the EU. Yeah, I understand that. It's tough. And I know that it's not perfect everywhere. I think about our situation. We were very fortunate, my wife and I, we have good insurance, which we pay a lot of money for. But my daughter was born at 29 weeks. Oh, thank you. My daughter was born at 29 weeks. And if we didn't have insurance, our hospital bills would have been well over $1 million. Every time the neonatologist walked by, it was $7,000 to $10,000. And even though we were at an in-network hospital, they were with an out-of-network group. So that was very convoluted. But there were a lot of people with us who didn't have insurance or good insurance, and they were there longer than us. And you can only imagine what their bills were. And it's just, people shouldn't have to go. I don't know. Here's the way I look at it. And I'm not trying to get into a political discussion. I used to feel very, very differently about what I'm going to say. But like, I already pay like 24% in taxes. Plus we pay like $800 a month in insurance, plus your deductibles and copay. So if I had to pay a little bit more in taxes to not have to pay for that, I think it would still be a win for me. She's doing great. She's doing great. You would never know. You would never know that she was a NICU baby. So you would never know that she was born early. So like I used to feel very differently about that, but then working in healthcare has kind of changed my thoughts on it. So 30 week or 2.5 pounds and 6'9". Wow. Yeah. See? Amazing, Judy. Amazing. So like I said, I'm not trying to get into a political thing, whatever. I just, like I said, I used to feel very, very differently about it. And that particular situation really changed my views. That's the NICU situation changed my views on a lot of things, honestly. Like in life, and I'm not even talking about politically, I'm talking about life in general. Jen, if you're a type 1, I hope you're on a pump. My night's going very well. How are you tonight? Yeah, that is 24 weeks is incredibly early. Yeah, Cheryl, I agree with you 100%. I think he's married 2 boys. My dad beat the living son. Good. I'm glad. Good. I'm glad they did that. Yeah, it's expensive. So that's a discussion I can't really get into in a video, because that will open up a whole bag of worms, and I don't really get political in my videos. I will report on political things and do stories on political things, but I will never give my personal views, because my personal views on politics are irrelevant. Just because I have a platform doesn't mean that I am by any means an expert on things like that. So as I mentioned earlier, my buddy works for Alice Cooper, and Alice Cooper, I know what he is politically. A lot of y'all probably do. If not, I don't know if I'm allowed to share it or not. But nevertheless, he did an article not like maybe a couple of years ago talking about politics, and he's one of those people who has his politics, but he never shares it, because he said, look, Al said, look, it doesn't matter what my politics are. He goes, I have been in a different world since I was 18 years old. This is talking about celebrities. Thank you for subscribing, Christy. He's like, I've been in a different world since I was 18 years old. He was like, I'm not in a reality that is reality to other people. So that is me being a rock star is less reason to listen to me. And I'm not saying that about me. That's what Alice Cooper said. And I love that about him. It's really great about him. But just because I have a platform for talking about true crime and narcissistic abuse and stuff like that does not give me the authority to talk about politics and give my opinion. So anyway, that's what you'll catch me hear me say about that. And I will accept everybody. Yeah, Alice is a really humble guy. he's very nice. But anyways, we have a problem. That's all. So, anyway, I digress. Speaking of narcissism, let me share something with you guys. Let me share something with you guys. My father and I, so for those of y'all who've been with me for a while, you guys know that I've been no contact with my mom for about 4 years. And my relationship with my dad has gotten better until recently. And now my dad and I have not spoken since early November when he was up here visiting. And there's a lot to this backstory. But one thing that my dad did do is he dropped a derogatory term when talking about Kanye West. And then he pulled up his TikTok and I don't know why he felt this was okay in front of my wife and my daughter and me for that matter. But first of all, the derogatory term in front about Kanye West, that's not a word that we use. I never digress. Oh, thank you. That's a great way of putting it. That's not a word that we use or allow in our house. It's not something that we are okay with at all. So obviously we addressed that. Then the next thing that my father did was he, yes, you can assume. The next thing my father did was he pulled up his TikTok and he started showing, I guess, the half naked women dancing, women and girls. And he starts trying to show it to me. He's like, this is what TikTok is. I'm like, Dad, my algorithm looks nothing like that. My algorithm, so y'all know, it's true crime and cars. It's a lot of murder. And I follow some funny people who I really like too, like Bimo the Prince and Semi Stupid and a bunch of others. I did follow Call Me Chris for a while, but I just unfollowed her like 2 days ago. Anyways, doesn't matter. And so he's showing me a bunch of like half naked girls. I'm like, Dad, that's your algorithm. That's your algorithm. But he proceeds to talk about how women essentially who dress like that are asking for it / deserve it. So again, right. And I do have F Jerry on mine too. So obviously this is in earshot of my daughter, and my wife stands up too. It says, so Victoria's 14 years old. She's wearing a bikini at the beach, and she deserves to be assaulted because of that, because she's wearing it. And so we called him out, and it's gotten to a point where he and I haven't chatted in a while. But the other thing that he has an issue with it is, so my father, yes, exactly. They don't know. He's old. That's part of it. He's older. I'm sorry, I'm just venting over here because this has really been bothering me. And he sent my sister. He's been sending my sister, who was this close to going no contact with him too. Yeah, let's. You know what? I'm gonna see if she wants to come on. She probably will. Let's go. If Alyssa comes on, I'm gonna jump straight over to TikTok, guys. Just so y'all know. Yeah, it is easier, but if she comes on, I'm gonna do that. But anyways, so he is a year before the boomers. He's silent gen, but barely. So he's got all the boomer tendencies that are stereotypical for the negative ones. Anyways, I don't know if this is coming on or not, but the other thing is, so when his sister passed away, well, an hour ago we were watching Banfield. So anyways, yeah, so we can talk about doing it tomorrow. That's fine. When his sister died, she was worth a lot of money. If y'all have heard me talk about the story, they got their money from drugs. It's a very interesting story, but they were worth 8-digit figures. Is what they were worth when they died. 8-digit figures. And so he didn't want to go to the funeral. Now, my dad's married to this woman, wife number 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, whatever. And he's already explained that everything is being, look, and I'm not about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the principle here, that he's leaving everything to his newest wife. I am fortunate that he did pay for a large chunk of my college, and I'm grateful for that. That's about the most that he did for me. He didn't really pay child support and stuff growing up the way he was supposed to. So he paid for my college, and I'm very grateful for that. I really am. He didn't do it for my brother because my brother and him didn't speak for 13 years, and he did nothing for my sister, who was a half sister from his first marriage, In fact, the one time he was going to help pay for her, he bounced the check and never did anything about it. So she's never gotten anything from him, and all she wants is accept it, basically him to try to take some responsibility, which he can't do. He's been married a lot of times. But anyway, so he's not leaving us anything. So he's like, he wouldn't go to his own sister's funeral because she wasn't leaving anything. So we're like, should we not go to yours because you're not leaving us anything? So anyways, he'll be 78 in April. And he's been working on for the last several years a product called Sopo. And it's basically a dispenser he invented. He holds a patent on it, whatever. And he wants me to use my channel to promote it. And I was kind of an ass about it. I was like, yeah, give me like 10% of the profits if you want me to do it, and I'll happily do it. And but even that's gone because it's gotten to a point where his politics is so. And look, this is not a Democrat Republican kind of thing. It's a, if it was normal Democrat or Republican kind of things, then it would be fine. That wouldn't be bothered. But he's gone so far left, or sorry, he's gone so far right to the point of extremism. Which again, there is far left. This is not me saying what I am. My dad's sister was worth 8 digits. Yes. I think at their height it was 14 million. I think it was something like that. 14, either 11 million or 14 million is what they were worth. So anyways. And I wouldn't do it because again, he just wants me to promote so he can get the money and give it to his wife. But it's all about. But yeah, he's gotten so far. But the thing is I foster a platform that is about acceptance and being good to one another, and not Bunny's saying exactly my thought. And not only Bunny would it destroy everything that I've built. Not only would it destroy everything that I've built on social media, it would go against my personal beliefs, but it's so far, the direction that he is so far and so politically incorrect, and not like politically incorrect, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's mildly politically incorrect, but I'm blanking right now. I'm sure one of y'all can, but it's so far, like, again, using certain expletives and saying women deserve it if they dress a certain way. He has his own account. And his followers, a lot of them, most of them, if not all, from me. And anyways, we haven't talked since November. He won't own up to anything. He's sending stuff to my sister to try to pit her against me, which is not working because her and I have become close. But I could also lose my real job. That's how bad his stuff is. It's so bad. And I've told him 1,000 times, like with this company, like I've literally been telling him for 2.5 years, you need to stop with this stuff. I know he joins my lives a lot too. I haven't seen him come in, and if he does, then he does. This is where he's at this point in time. So it's very frustrating and it's very disheartening because the idea of having 2 parents that you're no contact with, is not a fun thought. Well, what the issue is, Angie, is every time he markets his own product, he fails. I haven't seen him on here tonight. So, anyways, well, that's the issue, Cheryl. It has nothing to do with the topics because that's the thing is I've had conversations with him about like, look, you need to stop with it because he could also lose his real estate career. Like if I really got on here and talked about a lot of what he said, he would lose everything. And the issue is I have a big enough platform to do it. So it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I don't use my platform for nefarious acts, but I mean, I can't. Anyways, it's not easy. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad that I'm carrying it well because it doesn't feel it's a painful thing. It's a painful thing, even though it's the right decision. It's still a very painful thing. The issue, with my marriage, my mom almost destroyed my marriage. Alyssa's in the TikTok live, so she can attest to that. But my mom almost destroyed our marriage. So, to be honest, if you marketed shared on your page, it's failure, not overwhelming success would be your fault. You know what? You're probably right. The thing is, I think it's a good product for the most part. I do. I think it's a good product, but I just, again, I'm trying to think about the absolute worst person you know, both on the right and the left. Okay. Because again, I'm trying to be as unbiased and as here as I can. And that is the level where he's at. That's exactly right, Judy, because my marriage is not about her. Okay. How many have been arrested on the Nichols case? Okay, so great question. I'm gonna answer this one because I like talking about the Nichols case. I think it's super important. Now, 7 have not been arrested. 5 have been arrested, Bunny Sue. 3 out of those, 2 additional. No, I'm sorry. 5 additional. Right? Is that where we're at? Yeah, 5 additional have been fired with possible charges still. 2 additional officers have lost their job, placed on leave, and 3 EMTs have lost their jobs over it. But here's the biggest thing that I struggle with for this. Whereas my mom is a narcissist, is a malignant narcissist, and very, very destructive in what she does. My dad is not necessarily destructive. I do believe that he's got a lot of narcissism. He's very much about himself. I think that he could do with a lot of therapy, which he's not getting. But the biggest challenge is he's got, my brother barely deals with him. My sister barely deals with him. And he's disowned 3 of his granddaughters due to being part of the LGBTQ plus community. He's basically written them off. And he wants to have a good relationship with my daughter, but when he comes here, he's here physically, but he's not here. Like, he's not present. And since this has all happened, he's made 0 effort to try to talk to her. 0 effort. Oh, he's 78. He'll be 78 in April. He's older than 72. He'll be 78 in April. Well, my mom and I don't talk. Yes, Alyssa does tolerate me. Anyways, I just don't know. My dad does not. My dad understands the cancel era. He thinks that they're a bunch of woke. I forget what he calls them. He woke something. I forget his word terminology for it. Like the woke snowflakes or something like that. Although I should read you guys. I should read y'all what my nephew sent him today. It is brutal, but it's all true. That's a different live. You get a Middle. Is there not already one in Middle Tennessee? I lost a lot of people talking about this on YouTube, and not so much on here though. Thank you. Yeah, family dynamics are tough. Is he? Yeah, he's. I mean, he's as of sound mind as he can be, I guess. Yeah, he's totally there. He's totally there. So, anyways, it's challenging. Yeah, well, thank you, Caldwell. I always joke that it's amazing that I'm not on drugs. Is it true the cop crime was? I think you're asking about Tyre Nichols. So I've heard the rumor. If I'm wrong, please, US or Usmile. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But if you're talking about Tyre Nichols, there is a rumor that he was dating an ex-girlfriend Okay, cool. But it's not been substantiated yet. But to me, it's even though it's not substantiated, to me, it's very plausible. So, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it is a quarter to midnight here. So, and I know Alyssa's tired, so I probably should start wrapping up. I do want to do something before I go, though. Let me do this. I want to show you all tonight's shirt because you guys know that I am doing this affiliate program because I love these shirts and I got more in. So I'm going to show TikTok first. So this is my new one. Let me see if I can mirror my video so y'all can read it. There we go. Flip it. There. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Where is my mirror camera? I thought I had a mirror. There we go. Mirror my video. There we go. There. So now, no, that doesn't work. Okay, but as you can see, it says trapped in an abyss of waking nightmares is what it says. So if you guys want to see it, that's what it says, trapped in an abyss of waking nightmares. And I love this one. Now, he's not gotten a response yet that I've heard of. So again, if you guys want the shirt, hopefully y'all know what to do. These things are great. I absolutely love. Like the issue is that the few people who have bought some, I get a little kickback and I take the money and I just buy more shirts with it. I'm making no money on it. I'm just getting shirts. Maybe so. I think he ran though because he was. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll be more cognizant of that next time. Maybe work more for videos. All right, Emmy, good night. I will reach out to you on that. So yeah, so for the shirt, again, if y'all want it, link tree in my profile. First link at the top for Boardwalk Tees. And you can use code Justin and you'll get like a 10% discount. I think he literally ran for his life. I think that's why he ran. Yeah, I know they're not the cheapest, but they are nice and they're all made to order and handmade by artists or something like that. No, he did run. He did run. If you watch the video, he did run. Yes, if you want to support me and not just like give me gifts to give TikTok money, you want to, you can buy the shirts, then you get a shirt and I get a little kickback. You can definitely follow me on Instagram and YouTube too, because that would hopefully eventually help. But no, he did run. So when they pulled him out of the car initially, they had him on the ground. They were cuffing him. They were telling him to like comply. He was complying. He was complying. He was. And they kept coming at him and at him and at him. And I think he literally, like, there's some situations where I'll be like, look, if the cops are dicks, but you need to comply because you don't want it to escalate and get worse. It was already worse. It was already worse. So I think he ran literally to try to save his own life. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. I think if he had not felt he was going to be something very bad was going to happen, and he probably wouldn't have ran, because once he was cuffed and he was there, or once they had him, they were still roughing him up. Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Complying while they hit him and he flinched. No, he was compliant, but they hit him. They were beating him. That's my opinion. That again, that's based on what I've seen in the video. He ran because the Stooges pepper sprayed each other, tased him, gave nonsensical commands, and the cops were crazy. I would have to run too. Yeah, he was literally Dreamscape. He was literally running for his life. That's what I think. Well, that wouldn't surprise me with Memphis. I actually have to go to Memphis. I was going to go this week, but this Tyre situation has me not going this week. So, anyways. Newfoundland, Canada, low crime rate, but it's horrific. They did him. Yeah, it's absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. All right, I'm going to start wrapping it up. So a couple things that I will say before I go. If you guys have something that you want me to cover, be it a topic, a case, missing person, just whatever, I created. For those of y'all who just got here, I created a jot form. You can get to it from the link tree in my profile. Third link down, you just fill it out. But warning, when you do, it's going to take you after you submit it over to YouTube because I'm trying to get people to subscribe there. The next thing is I'm going to do a video when I get off. I'm probably not, there wasn't too much to recap tonight, even on Murdoch. So I'm probably going to just do a video on the Benjamin Obadiah Foster. For those of y'all who didn't see it, that's the guy in Oregon on the dating app who's killing women, who has killed women before. So I'm going to do a video on that for awareness. Please like, share, comment on that one so it gets awareness. Because unfortunately, even though that particular situation is happening in Oregon, that stuff does happen all the time to women, and women need to be aware so they can make, not that you guys don't take proper precautions already, but I guess even more proper precautions, because the world is constantly out to get you. And I'm not saying that facetiously. I'm dead serious when I say that. So thank you, Doug. And then again, the shirts, if you want any of these awesome shirts, these do support me a little bit until I get a merch thing going on. If Max is in here, be quiet, Max. But you can do these. So I talked about the Idaho case a little bit tonight. We talked about the informant a little bit earlier. I did do a video on it, but we did talk about it a little bit. All right, thank you, Michelle. So anyways, so you guys have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow. See what Banfield's going to be, and we'll go from there. Y'all have a great night. We'll shut off YouTube first.